The question is, what are the top 3 ways, if you could, I think, summarize it, right? The top 3 ways Muhammad Ali exemplified the character of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Alayhi salatu wassalam. I think the top 3 ways that I see just a small glimpse. Any heroic quality you see in anybody is just a glimpse of what is on full display in the character of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. But one thing I see in Ali that reminds me of Sayyidina Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam is a care for the weak and the oppressed, even when he's at the top. Right? That's for some people, success is so intoxicating, and one thing that I think the West does very well is celebrating success. When you're at the top and everything is being given to you. For a person in that moment to remember those who don't have what I have, those who haven't succeeded like I have, those who've been barred from the success that I enjoy, that's a prophetic quality. When the Prophet ﷺ was talking to Quraysh about Islam, and they were saying to him, we might be able to work something out, right? But some of these people like Khabbab and Bilal and Ibn Mas'ud, they gotta go. The Prophet ﷺ wasn't because he was an orphan, he wasn't considered extremely highborn, right? But he was esteemed among his people. He definitely was from the upper echelon of Quraysh. So they kind of came to him and said, as gentlemen of a certain distinction, perhaps we could, come to terms. And the Prophet ﷺ was not allowed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to consider those terms. وَاصْبِرْ نَفْسَكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ رَبَّهُمْ بِالْغَدَاةِ وَالْعَشِيِّ يُرِيدُونَ وَجْهَهُ. Allah said, no, be patient, right? Be patient with those seemingly socially insignificant people who are with you, seeking their Lord by day and by night. I see that quality in Muhammad Ali. I see a resilience. Muhammad Ali, I told you guys, I am a boxing aficionado. So I appreciate Muhammad Ali, the civil rights icon. I also appreciate Muhammad Ali, the fighter, because I'm very much into boxing. I've been for quite some time. It's interesting. Ali was the kind of fighter. Now, in the early part of his career, he was distinguished by his elusiveness. He was very, very fast, very hard to land a solid punch on Muhammad Ali. And a lot of people in the early part of his career thought he's elusive because he can't take a punch. As he got older and he slowed down, he started getting hit a lot, which probably aggravated his Parkinson's. But when he started getting hit a lot, people saw this is one of the most resilient. This man has one of the best chins. In boxing, having a chin is the ability to take a punch, right? This man has one of the best chins of anybody we've ever seen. And I think that's also a prophetic quality, not so much in battle, but in life, to have a chin. You look at the Prophet ﷺ, he took so much punishment and never stopped seeking Allah. Right? The Prophet ﷺ said, "Nahnu ma'ashara al-anbiya'i ashaddu an-nasi bala'an." We, the assembly of the prophets, are the most severely tested of people. For the Prophet ﷺ to be Habibullah, to be the beloved of Allah, and to survive all of his children except Fatima. All of his children died before him except Fatima. Many of us would say, Allah, I'm supposed to be your beloved, but I've buried all of my children. I'm supposed to be your beloved, but uncles and family members that once embraced me are now rejecting me. No. The Prophet ﷺ had a good chin. Whatever life, Ta'if, the story of Ta'if, whatever life dealt to him, he accepted as the mashi'ah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he always came back. And that was very much a quality that Ali embodied inside the ring and outside the ring. And the last thing I think when I think about Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Ali was, a lot of people don't talk about, when they talk about Ali's legacy, Muhammad Ali was intentionally very boastful. He is intentionally very boastful, which some people don't understand that there's a cultural context to boasting in the Black American community. When you have a world around you that is trying to devalue you, right? You have a world around you that is, sending you, bombarding you with messages about your ugliness, the ugliness of your skin, the ugliness of your broad nose, the ugliness of your lips, the ugliness of the curliness of your hair, to say, I'm pretty, I'm beautiful. This wasn't, I heard one person say, before the great American singer James Brown said, I'm black and I'm proud, Muhammad Ali said, I'm black and I'm pretty. And that these were not, some people hear this, and if you lack the cultural context, you think of these as just empty boast. Just a lot of braggadocio. And no. These were messages of great affirmation for Black people. These were, that a Black man could speak in that way with no fear of being regarded as uppity, with no fear of being regarded as full of himself. That was something that was so needed at that time. And when I think about the Prophet ﷺ, because we think about Bilal ibn Rabah radiallahu anhu as the mu'adhin of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and he was. But there were other mu'adhins. Abdullah ibn Maktoum radiallahu anhu was also a mu'adhin of the Prophet ﷺ. Zayd ibn al-Haritha was also a mu'adhin of the Prophet ﷺ. There were other people who called the adhan. And this is something that I will go to my grave believing this. I think that the decision to tell Bilal after the Fath of Mecca to go make the adhan from the top of the Kaaba, I think this was an intentional move from the Prophet ﷺ. I think this was something that Bilal, a formerly enslaved person, I think it was something that was very affirming for him to be so visible, because to be enslaved, to be ridiculed on account of your Blackness is in a sense to be forced into invisibility. You get over there. To make him front and center, I think was the perfect way to symbolize the dawning of a new day with the arrival of Islam to Mecca. No, you, this formerly enslaved person, you go stand on the Kaaba, let everybody see you call people to the submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I think that I see that also in Muhammad Ali. I was talking to the great poet Amir Suleiman once, and I asked him, how do you feel? And he said, man, I feel like Bilal's black feet standing on the Kaaba. What I'm saying? That's how I feel. The fact that the Prophet ﷺ, ordered, a moment like that is very powerful, and I see that reflected in the legacy of Muhammad Ali.